Hey everybody. I do believe we are live. Looks like my microphone is working. At least it says it's working. Video's working. Video's working. So we are good to go. So welcome to 3 on Thursday. My name is Michelle and I am with Crafters Northwest, and I use Close to My Heart products in all of my videos. You are encouraged to use whatever crafting products you have, and if you have any questions about any of the products that I show on any of my videos, let me know. I would be happy to answer them for you. So today we have some super cute cards, super easy cards, but let's go over a few things first. So I don't know where you all are, if you're local to me. I know some of you are local to me, some of you are definitely not local to me. We are expecting a winter storm tomorrow, so that'll be interesting. Everybody's going kind of crazy about that, so it'll be interesting to see what actually shows up. So on to crafting information. This is the Essentials catalog that we have. So we have 2 books live at any given time. So this is the year-long book, and in it you have your essentials. You have I forget which order things are in here. Obviously you have your inks and your cardstocks in here. These are all of the colors. So inks, cardstock, re-inker. We also have a color of the year, which lasts for 1 year. We have our how-to books, and I actually used inspiration from the Love of Color book for today's cards, and I picked one main color, and it was actually mulberry. And then in the book that I have, which is the first one, mulberry's not in there yet because it had not yet been released, but I used some colors that were similar and just kind of played off of that combination and such. And so I can't actually I can. This card right here, this is one of the inspiration cards, so you'll be able to figure out which one that is. But that card itself and kind of that color combo as well is what one of the cards is based off of. That's actually pretty cool. I hadn't looked at this book before just now. So, well, in relation to those week's cards anyway. But as you can see, it gives you a main color on the page, right? So in this instance, it's Sundance. Make sure you can actually see that, yeah. All right, so we have Sundance, and we have 3 different combinations. So we have a 5-color, a 4-color, and a 3-color combination. And they're not necessarily just condensed, right? They generally are different from the 5 to the 3. So it does give you more inspiration than just that. And then it gives you a project example for each of those color combinations. So that's really cool, I thought. So that Love of Color book is super handy. There are Make It From Your Heart books that are available, and these are beyond handy because like the video that I did in November, they have the cutting guide information in each of these books. Plus they have 2 different, usually it's 2 different examples in the book on how to use that sketch as shown. So one is as shown and one is slightly different in some sort of way. Hello Rhonda, thanks for joining. We have a couple different other kits. The Operation Smile stamp set goes for a wonderful cause, Operation Smile. And then some other basics. We have some coloring and your embellishments. I'm trying to go through this really quick. I'm not trying to make this be a catalog walkthrough. We have our glitter papers, some irresistibles, calendars and card bases and things like that, some stencils for both scrapbooks and cards, although you could use both on either. They are interchangeable. We have some digital art. Every one of our paper packs comes with a digital art kit, and so that's really, really fun and really handy, and a lot of times is what I'm pulling for my cards if they are Cricut cards. So these ones are not paper specific, they're kind of a general everything theme. We have some more thin cuts, of course our blocks and chamois. And one of the things that I did not notice until this week is in my videos you will see me use two different size blocks. Not that one. You'll see me use a 3.5 inch block and a 1.5 inch block, and neither of these are available anymore. But I love them so much, so I keep using them. But I did not realize that the 1 by 3.5 block is no longer in the book, and it's not available online either. It is the 1 inch block, so the 1 by 1 block, right? But that 1/2 inch extra makes all the difference. And the 6.5 inch block. So those are so you'll see me use these, and unfortunately you can't get them anymore, but they are such a staple in my stamping, you'll probably see them a lot. So I apologize for that, and I hope they bring them back, because those are my two most used sizes right there, by far. Anyway, moving on, we have some more tools, scissors. This particular paper trimmer is being discontinued by Fiskars, or has already been discontinued by Fiskars. We do have a different one available if you are looking to get a paper trimmer. If you don't have one or you're looking to replace one, we do have that one available in the book. It's just slightly different, and the blades that go in it are different. We have our die cut machine, which we will be using today, your different glue varieties, albums of varying sizes, page protectors to go inside albums, Pocket Plus and flip flaps. Fabulous. I do have a number of videos showing flip flaps in use on scrapbook pages. I don't have very many videos of the Pocket Plus, but they are just, as you can see, just little extra bits you can add between your 2-page layouts if you don't have quite enough picture spots, or if you need more than just the flip flaps, or you don't want to use flip flaps. We have some organization, some more organization, some travel items, a monthly special. So this was the Gnomes for Autumn, which you can still get. There has been a Gnomes for Winter, which you can also still get. So there will be a Gnomes for Spring at some point, but it has not come out yet because it is still winter. And that is in the main book. I do not have the current book, but those will have the 2 different paper packs with coordinating cardstock, coordinating stamps, embellishments, digital kits. There is the mix-in, which combines all of the colors for the current packs, and then a few more, and then a number of stamps. So it's always fabulous. But all right, we did talk about these last week, so most of this is not new information unless you were not here last week. These are pages that you can make with the March album retreat, and they are pre-cut pages for you, ready to go. You make 11 11 two-page layouts. You get 2 exclusive retreat stamp sets, the pattern papers, embellishments, some embossing folders, some thin cuts, memory protectors, and photo placeholders are all included, and the price for that is $250, which is a great price for all of those things. All right, next up is the VIP special that's going on. So you can be a VIP at any time, right? You sign up for $35, you instantly get $15 put into your VIP bank, and you can use that on your very first purchase after you sign up, or you can keep that and build that up and use it at another time. That is the general VIP program. That's how that works. Currently, until the end of January, when you sign up, it's still $35, but you'll actually get $25 into your bank to use on your next order. So that's pretty awesome. I think that's pretty awesome. The stamp of the month for January is called Looking Forward, and we kind of went over this pricing last week, but you can purchase it all by itself, standalone, no VIP, no nothing, for $29.95 with the thin cuts. Okay, if you place a $50 order, not as a VIP, you can get the stamp with the thin cuts for $14.95. If you are a VIP member, you can purchase the stamp and the thin cuts for $9.95. If you do not want the thin cuts, as a VIP, it is free. As not a VIP, it is $5. And just the stamp set, just as an order, you can get it for $19.95. So, but these thin cuts are going to be very usable. All right, Bring Back My Pack for Skylark is available until the end of the month. Lots of different purchase options. Just a paper pack with or without the sticker sheet, coordinating cardstock. There is a stencil, a stamp set, and then a number of bundles that you can get, scrapbooking, card making, etc. And then last special, but not the least special, is Love Notes. So this is available until, I don't remember if it's available until the end of January or if it's the end of February. I think it's the end of February, but I could be wrong. But again, like Skylark, paper packs with or without sticker sheets, coordinating cardstock, stamp set with, this one actually has a coordinating die set, which also includes a small envelope, puffy stickers as the embellishments, and plenty of different bundle options as well. So definitely lots of things that you can get. So I'm actually going to, so this is the Love of Color book. I cannot show you all of the things in here because it is a licensed book. But this page is actually shown in the book like I just showed you. And so this card, so this is the Glacier color. So the card Glacier, Sugar Plum, Ballerina, Sage, and Pewter are the colors for the card itself. And so many of those colors are discontinued, right? They retired. We don't have them anymore. But Mulberry is in the Sugar Plum family, and so that's kind of where I went with that. So I did look up Sugar Plum, and I did actually do a couple different things, and kind of pivoted a little bit, but making sure that Mulberry color was in the card in some fashion. And I'm hoping that you'll see that there are, well, all three cards have the mulberry color in it. I think they all look very, very different Obviously the style will help with that, but they all look very different, and so hopefully you'll agree by the end of the video. Okay, first up we have this fun congrats card. So this is an older paper, but it is still available in the store, and it is foil patterns gold, and silver is also available, or at least was at the beginning of the week. So some of this I did in advance so that it would take less time on the video. Sometimes these letters want to play hard to get out of the dies. So let's take a look at all the things. Now I did use the gray dots on here, and I do love them, but I want you guys to think about what you think about using the gold glitter gems on here instead of those gray dots. So let me know in the comments, watching live or even on the recording. You know, when you're watching it later, go ahead and reply as if you're watching it live, because I would love to see what your thoughts are before you get to the end of the card and you see what I do with it. So let's talk about what we have here. So we have no stamping on here, which is kind of nice. It's nice to have cards sometimes that you don't have any stamping on. So we are using this congrats die, Z4330. Not sure where that 7 was coming from. These are two different sets that I have put in the same package just to help with organization and space. So it does come with just the congrats, and so that's what we are using today. We are also going to be using the circle lattice background, and I'm actually going to be showing you some tricks with this today. So hopefully you'll find the tips handy. So what else do we have here? We have all of our pieces. So we have, of course, our card base and envelope. We have our piece large enough for our envelope flap. We have our inside 4 by 5 1/4 white daisy. We have a charcoal piece that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We have our mulberry piece that is should be 4 by 5 1/4. Might be 4 1/8. Oh, it is 4. Okay, 4 by 5 1/4 as well. And then another charcoal piece, 3 by 4, which means that our pretty paper, our foiled paper, is 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then we have our die cut pieces. Oh, we have our 1/2 inch piece for the inside. So I have some weird pieces. So I have the congrats on the light side of the charcoal paper because I did it wrong, but that's okay because I can put the rest of the card together with the light side up. So we have the dark side, and our card today will do the light side. Then I have it again in white daisy. I did do both of these on the adhesive sheets. Because of how thin some of these lines are, it was just messy trying to do it with any of the liquid glues. And so those adhesive sheets are perfect for this. And then I have a C and an S. Sorry, I was just making sure that my brain was not thinking incorrectly. And I actually have the adhesive sheet on the top of this. So it's adhesive sheet and then cardstock, because these are going to go behind to give those two bits extra strength, because I didn't want to have to mess with the foam tape, and I wanted to make sure it was strong enough to withstand being put into an envelope and being taken out. So that is why I just wanted those two letters. If you don't want to futz with it that much, you can do the whole thing either way. So let's go ahead and do our die cutting. So the other two things that I have are a chipboard shim. So this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I have just laid it on top of my die, and you can hopefully see the two spots where I marked with pencil, and I did that on all 4 sides. So I just rotated it and marked so that it was between the top of the lattice and inside the stitched frame, because I didn't want to have to worry about all of those little bits being popped out or not popped out. Okay, so that is why I did that. And then I also have a silicone mat. Now in my previous videos I did have a brown one, and that has since seized up and it just became stiff like chipboard, and so therefore it will no longer work. And to be fair, that piece of silicone was probably 20 years old, so you know, it had a good life. So this is just a thin silicone, and I'm going to use it doubled up just so that I can make sure that I have enough give in the machine. And what this will do is it will make my thin cut into an embossing folder instead of a thin cut, so that we can use it doubly. So let's go ahead and move some things out of the way, and let's get started. All right, so first up, we need some washi tape. So, or whatever kind of tape you'd like to use. And we're going to do the light side, and so we want that to be facing the thin cut. And then this is going to sound really weird. We're going to tape this on very strangely. Okay, we're gonna slip our washi through our die like this. So it's attached on the back side of the die, and it goes through the hole and under so it can attach to the paper. And so I'm going to do that in 2 different spots. Okay, just like this. We are going to line up our paper, and you know, I didn't even think about it. I just cut this to actually be the size that I wanted, and then I decided that I did want that border on here just to give it an extra little oomph. And so this was kind of a secondary thought. So I'm just going to squeeze to make sure that that washi tape is attached to the cardstock. All right, and now I'm going to start building on the base. The less I have to move things, the fewer mistakes there are. All right, so I'm just going to line this up just right on top. It should line up pretty perfectly. And then I'm going to take my silicone, and then I'm just going to plop this down right on top of it. So when you're picking this up, you want to try to make sure that nothing underneath moves. And sometimes that's harder said than done. Harder done than said. Whatever. You know what I mean. It's harder than you think, is what I meant to say. And then combine it with the other thing. Easier said than done. Oh. So one of the things that you do have to do that I darn near forgot is you are going to need to change this to letterpress 2D emboss. And then you're going to pass this through. So I currently have this on -1 on the bottom. And you saw me just change that to 2D. So already you can see that we have a pattern here, right? It went through smooth as butter. Like, you might think that it's not doing anything, but it actually does. So I would play with your settings first. So now you can see a little bit better. I still have the camera set to focus here, and so I can't bring it up and show you and have it be in focus. All right, so we're just going to take this out. And you can see there that it is embossed. I know it'll be blurry, but our focus was the embossing on the side. So if you wanted to, you could put it through on a deeper pressure, and so that would give you a deeper impression. Or you could do it without the shim, and that would cut it kind of into the paper like it's designed to. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, next up is our mulberry paper, and we are going to do this on the light side. And for this one, we are going to, hello Maria, thanks for hopping in. So for this one, because so much of this is showing, we are going to adjust where we have our paper attached. So we can just attach here, and that would not be any problem at all. The other option, let me show you the card, is that when we're attaching, we can attach it the same way we did with the charcoal, but just in a smaller area, so it's underneath what we're going to put down. So hopefully this will make sense. The reason that I am trying to hide the washi is because sometimes it will emboss the washi shape into your paper, and that's not what we want. So just to give you the example, so this is essentially the size of our card, right? So this is going to be centered. So now these washi tapes are hidden behind this, where this is going to go. Okay, so my goal on this piece is to impress the cut into the paper so it looks like it's cut, but for it to have it not be cut all the way. And so the way that I did that is we're going to remove this, but we are still going to use this shim. Okay, so let's first get our paper on here. Okay, so we want the light side, so we're going to put that closest to the die. Alright, let's make sure that this is attached so it doesn't move anywhere. Maria says she actually has this paper and had forgotten about it. It's so easy to forget about. It's beautiful. And we've colored it in the past, and we've done all sorts of things. So I can, here, we're just going to keep it on the same setting that it was. I don't think that's going to work. Sorry, you were kind of bouncing around there for a second. Yeah, that did absolutely nothing. Not surprising. So we're just going to change it to die cut. We're not going to change the bottom at all. So we're still at -1. And something else I forgot to tell you is alright, let me show you, because it doesn't want to go for 2 reasons. Okay, so it started to go, but then it stopped. Alright, so ideally, put your square or rectangles at an angle, because it's like hitting a speed bump. If you have it just square on, it's like hitting a speed bump, and it's really hard for the machine to go through. And then the other thing is I'm going to make this less tight. So I'm going to put it on 2. Because I did not write down what I did do it at. And I don't remember. Oh, this should work. Alright, let's see. That worked. As you can see, some of them have fallen through, so they did cut all the way, and that's okay. That's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it on here for just a moment so we don't have more pieces falling through. And let's go ahead and do some things here. Goodness. All right. So we're going to go ahead. Normally I would have you glue. Actually, I am glue on here. So let's take off our washi. And at this point, all I'm doing is taking it off the thin cut. I'm going to leave it on the paper. All right. Look how awesome that is. And we are going to run glue over every row of petals, at least. That way they don't fall out. So you will use a lot more glue on this one. But it is fun. So you could do a liquid glue here instead, right? That would be easy. And if they fall out, that's okay, because we can fix that. All right, and then we're just going to center this inside that stitching. Glue that down. And like I said, these spots are going to be covered, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave that washi there. So if any of these had actually popped out, I would just use a dot of liquid glue and glue it right back in there. Easy peasy. All right, so let's add some glue to some other things here. So as you know, we use a good liquid glue on the envelope because we do not want our card to get destroyed because it gets caught up in a machine, right? So this is a silicone makeup brush. Well, it's not a brush, but I think technically that's what they call it. And I've just been using it for my envelope flaps to spread that glue because it works so well. Alright, so we're going to let that sit for a few bits. And let's go ahead and use some more liquid glue. So you could use that silicone brush on anything that you use liquid glue on. It doesn't have to be just the envelope, and you don't have to use it. All right, that's definitely not a requirement. Stop rubbing it, let it dry. If your glue squeezes out like mine did and I wasn't paying attention. If your Tombow glue does this and it gets on your project, let it dry and then I'll show you what to do with it. Okay, so set this aside and let's glue these. All right, so then we are going to decide which way or where we want our congrats. Do we want it to go across here with our flower up, or do we want it to go here and we can see most of our flower? Okay, you guys tell me what you think. I'm gonna do this bit. So this is just the 1/2 inch piece. And I did not cut that down, which is fine. And then this will go inside our card. Okay, so while I'm waiting to hear from you guys on that, I'm going to go through and I'm going to pick out all the center of the letters. Definitely something that's easier to do before you stick them together. Oh my goodness. These adhesive sheets, by the way, are fantastic. They are super sticky. Alright. So now I have this white daisy layer to help give some strength, again, where to the whole thing, but also for where it overlaps, or extends past, rather, would be the correct term. Where it extends past the paper that we're putting it on. So I am going to put the charcoal on the white daisy, and this is actually 3 separate pieces, just that's how it's designed. So the adhesive sheets, what you do is you take your adhesive sheet and you put it on the back side of your cardstock that you want to use. And then your cardstock becomes a sticker, essentially. And you can just glue that straight to your paper, or you can do what I've done and cut die cuts from it, and then just peel off from the backing paper. It looks really cool like this too. Alright, so once you get it stuck down, go ahead and give it a little bit of a burnish. It will help tell the glue that this is where you actually want it. Alright. And then we're going to figure out kind of how we want this centered so that we know where to put things. I think we're going to do it this way. Alright, so that we know that that's what's going to hang over the edges. Okay. So I'm going to do the rats first again. I'm not going to push anything down so that if I need to correct this at all, I can do that still. One last letter. Okay, I think that looks good. I do have this a little bit lower than last time. My G is hanging off. And I didn't do anything about that, but that's okay. Okay, so we're going to flip this over. So we're going to have two stickies together. So you're going to need to get it right the first time. You are not going to get a second chance to put down your letter the way you want it. So I did use just a scrap piece, so my letter doesn't actually have the full adhesive on it. And you're just going to essentially just sandwich this piece between those two letters. And it gives it nice heavy duty thickness to it. That's not the right word. Stability, that's the word. Voila. Now, if you are worried about this sticking, which I'm not really, it's not sticking a ton to my finger, so it shouldn't get pressed down enough to be able to do anything. Stick to anything. All right. Time for some foam tape. So these are the Slimline frame shaker foam and acetate pieces. There's probably a word that I forgot. If so, I apologize. So, when you are covering a large area, you do not have to peel all of the backings off. If you don't want, you can just peel off the edge pieces, and that should give you a solid enough connection, especially with cards, to go ahead and put your piece down. So, before we do that, so we have some sticky bits. So I'm just going to take an eraser, and this is just an eraser pen. I just got it everywhere. Goodness. Okay, and then you just erase it. I do try to make sure that I have the white eraser and not a pink eraser. It does seem to make a difference on the effect that it has on the paper that you're erasing it from. And the other option is, of course, that you can use the glue erasers. So one of these, they are rougher, so you would need to be paying attention to how that is affecting your cardstock or paper or whatever. trim this down. And add on our embellishments. And then we're done. Now, my card is not quite even. So I'm just going to take my scissors and run them right along the edge of my charcoal paper. And if this doesn't bother you, you do not have to do this. What do we think? Gray or look at that, what I did when I wasn't paying attention. I used light, dark, light. Let's do some of these. And I don't remember if it was last week or a different week that I told you guys, I really like kind of tucking things underneath, specifically embellishments, underneath the edge of a paper or the edge of a cluster. I just like how that looks. I think it makes it look like it's, what is the word? It makes you keep looking to see if there is something else hidden somewhere else. So that's what I think. Anyway, all right, card 1 done. Card 2. This is kind of my retake on that card in the book. And yeah, I think it's super fun. So this Happy Birthday die itself. So it is the scalloped circle die, and separately some triangle dies. It was less than $3 when I got it. I think it's still on sale for less than $3. So yeah, this would be a good thing to add to your stash, guys. It really would be. Okay. So we have our Happy Birthday die. We are going to also use some circle dies. And again, I do have a boatload of this pre-cut. The stamps that we are using the inks that we're using Mulberry ink in the last two cards. So we're using Seabrook and Mulberry. And we are using this stamp set. So this is Cake Day Scrapbooking. So as you can see, lots of different presents and different ways to do things. So we are using the two banner piece, I had the word. Anyway, we're using the two long pieces on here. You know what? This could almost be a camera die right there. A banner, a carrot, a piece of pie. This could just be a wonky little rectangle. Anyway. So, we have our pieces. Of course, again, we have our card base and envelope. We have our 4x5 1/4 inside. We have our 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 Seabrook outside. We have, these are just some scraps. We have our Happy Birthday Thin Cut from White Daisy. We have a circle from Linen. And then we have some pieces. What do we have? Mulberry at 2 by 4 1/4. Ballerina by 1 1/2 by 4 1/4. These are two different linen strips because I did not want to cut into a 12 by 12 piece for this size. So these are 1 by 4 1/4, and I have two of them. But if you wanted, you could make one strip that is 2 3/8 or 2 1/2, either way, by 4 1/4. And then this is Limeade, and it's 3 3/4, and it is 3/4. So 3/4 by 3 3/4. And these are literal scraps, and I will show you what we're going to use those for when we get there. Okay, so, oh, and then also, these are Bluebell loose sequins. So these are super fun. They are still available. This was a Color of the Year product, and so these are while supplies last, and they last forever. All right, so let's stamp. Grab a piece of scratch paper. And let's stamp our envelope so that can dry. And we're doing this in the presents. Just all the way across. Hopefully you can see. Excuse my head. Just slightly up from the bottom. And it just fits. So there is a space on either side, but because there are spaces between the presents, it looks like it was meant to do that. So that's an added little bonus. Okay. So now we need our linen. No, this is mink. Anything that I said linen is actually mink, I think. Now I have to check. Linen. Not mink, linen. Okay. Now that we have that all figured out. All right, more presents. And we're just gonna go kind of straight across the center. We're gonna flip our stamp upside down. We're just gonna go kind of upside down. Actually, I want to make sure that the tall presents are not just right underneath the tall presents. Right, see, they're kind of offset. All right. And then we're just going to kind of fill in that gap at the bottom. All right, we are done with the presents and the mulberry ink for this card. Now, Seabrook ink. But before we do the Seabrook stamping, let's glue our pieces together so that we can make sure we're doing it at the right spot. All right, so we are just going to center our ballerina piece on our mulberry piece, and I wanted to do that. You know what? On the dark side is fine. Come to the dark side, they say. So I'm just gonna line this up. I'm gonna do the first side at whatever kind of makes me happy. And then the second side, I will match that same amount as best I can. And so, if you want to use your Versamat to line that up, you can. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my pencil and move this down. All right, so I want this to sit right about there. So I'm just going to scooch that over. I'm going to put a mark that's just inside the bottom edge. So this is the bottom edge, it's up a little bit, bottom edge, it's down a little bit. And then I'm gonna do the same on the other side, making sure that things are still lined up. All right, now we can stamp. this stamp fits across here just perfectly, just absolutely perfectly. So we're just going to line up with those marks that we made so that our circles are tucked under just a smidge. And this stamp is designed to be distressed looking already. All right. And then we also need our white daisy piece, and we're going to stamp the inside. So this one, just so you can see, does not fit on our white daisy piece. Well, you could see if I was up higher. All right, so this does not fit on the white daisy piece, as you can see here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over. I'm going to not stamp the exclamation point, so it says hooray, hooray on the piece itself. Alright, so again, excuse my head if it's in the way. Oh, this is much better. Okay. I'm like, why do I feel so low? My cat hair is getting all over everything. Hooray! Okay, and we are done stamping. So now we can start assembling things. You know, I think both times I meant to use the light side of Glacier on the front of the card, and both times I did not. Or not Glacier, Seabrook. Seabrook went with the colors just a little bit better tonally. So we're going to cut a quick banner cut. Fishtail banner. There are so many different words for this. And then, so, goodness, too many things. So this just goes on just like this. Just kind of center it between your stamping. I'll put these down and I got instantly too warm. Alright. And then our Limeade banner, we're gonna do off center, right? So we're lower than center. All right, now it is time to put together our happy birthday. So this is where our scraps come into play. move these out of the way. So this fits in here darn near perfect. Pretty close. Right? It's not exactly perfect, but it's pretty close. And so we are going to do two different things here. So we are going to use a little bit of washi. To do a quick instant hold. And what you could do is you could just use your foam dots and not worry about the braces, and just make sure that you put them overlapping the meet point of the two pieces. But I am going to go ahead and use my pencil again, and I'm going to create some braces for the back side here. So I don't have to cut these anywhere close to perfect, right? They're not going to be seen by anybody. I just wanted to have a kind of general, this is the shape that we need. And then run these across. So this is going to help make sure that everything stays flat. And then of course we're going to pop it up. Right, so you could, oh, there's definitely down points. So this is why I do so much foam tape. So the next technique that we're going to do, actually we're going to put the inside in first, but after that we are going to make a mess on purpose, and it creates some of the best splatter, scatter looks that you're gonna get. All right. Definitely want to make sure to do the inside before you do your next step, because the next step is going to take a little bit of time to dry. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our sequins, and if there are any colors in your mix that you don't want, then kind of separate it out now would be ideal. But you are going to just take a pinch, okay? This is my pinch, It's more than I'm going to use, right? For sure. But I'm just going to take a pinch and I'm going to bring my hand up about a foot. So that's going to be up here where the camera is. And I'm just going to sprinkle. You know, like those videos do now, salt. We're just going to add a little spice. And the camera right here actually is making it hard. Okay. So yes, we have too many. That's okay. We knew that from the get-go. Right, so let's clean this up. I would maybe recommend putting a piece of paper down. It'll make cleaning them up just a little bit easier. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you are going to go through and get rid of the ones that definitely don't work. For example, I'll use my tweezers while I'm warming up my wax pencil. So this one, obviously, that's not going to work. I don't want anything on top of the actual happy birthday words. Okay, I don't want stars. This has multiple. Oh, I guess it doesn't have multiple. While I don't mind the hearts, there is a heart on this one and you almost can't even see it. So I'm just going to skip the hearts this time. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of these super teeny tiny ones. Because I don't want to mess with those today. And then I'm going to flip anything over that is bottom side up. Okay, there, I'm going to move that one there. So it's kind of a fun scatter. And you can make adjustments as you see fit, right? This looks good. I'm happy with this. So I'm going to close these up so I don't spill them everywhere. And then I'm going to grab this. Oh, look, I even missed one. So I'm going to grab my Tombow glue. And then I'm going to grab my piercing tool. And you're just going to make sure your glue is at the bottom. You're going to pick one up, put the dot, and put it down. That was kind of a big dot. I'm going to keep your dots kind of small. Now you could do micro glue dots. That does take a little bit more time. This actually goes really quickly. Sometimes the wax pencil doesn't want to let go. And so I will grab my, that one's upside down. Oh, that one's too big, too big, too big. So I will grab my piercing tool, see it like right here. And generally what happens is glue has gotten onto the wax pencil, and so it causes it to stick. It doesn't have any glue. So I'll just go through and push them down. And yes, I am right-handed, so doing the glue with my left hand is really weird, but it actually goes really quick. I know, I said that already. And then I think I'm going to put this one up here. And we're done. Here's another piece. So this is why I would do it over a piece of paper next time. So that will take just a few minutes to dry. Oh, there was one we missed. Picking it up and tipping it like I did is a good way to find out super quick if you missed anything or not. And that is card number 2 done. Card number 3. Now this one, I think, gives a whole kind of different look to everything. It's kind of the same colors, but it's different. So I had a lot of fun doing this and troubleshooting to figure out how to do this so that it works. So if there's any part of it that you don't want to do, don't do it. Don't do it. It's that simple. All right, so we have some clear sparkles because, you know, we know that's the most important part, right? We are using 3 different stamp sets. So we are using Occasional Wreath for the sentiment to the happy couple, and also congratulations, because you didn't see the inside yet, which you'll see. And then I used Besties Lucy, and Buddies Ian. So you could do this with any of the besties and buddies, right? It would work fabulously. And then we are using the Fancy Borders thin cuts. We're using this one. And the Stitched Fancy Brackets, and we're using the smaller of the 2. All right, so what do we have? We have, of course, a card base and envelope. We have all of the pattern pieces today are from the November-December mix-in. So we have a Desert Rose that is 4 by 5 1/4. No, it is not. It is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We have Mulberry that is 4 by 5 1/4. Now I'm questioning myself. Yes, 4 by 5 1/4. A White Daisy that's 4 by 5 1/4 for the inside. This is the canvas looking piece, and this is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So it's just barely smaller than that Mulberry piece. We have a piece for our envelope. We have a Ballerina and a White Daisy piece for the front. I have a few that are already stamped because I was trying to decide the color. And then we have a scrap of White Daisy, and I'll explain that in a little bit. We have 2 pieces of the banner piece, or lacy piece, already cut out of Mulberry, and 2 by accident, originally by accident. So I had cut the first one and had glued it on the first card and decided that that was far too time consuming and far too messy. So I kept them. We're going to use them on the inside. And then for the outside, because of the rest of the process that we're doing, I do have that adhesive sheet on the back, so it's already die cut with that. So this is more than 5 1/2 inches long, just to make things easier a little bit later. We have another sheet that is the adhesive sheet. And then we have some tiny pieces. So this piece is the dots, again from that mix in, and it is 1/2 inch by 2 3/4. And then a piece of Mulberry and a piece of that Desert Rose dots. These are 1/4 inch and kind of scrap long. So yeah, so these are the other colors. You guys can let me know if you would like me to stamp it in something other than charcoal. Something has popped up on my screen. I need to move that out of the way. All right, so we have it stamped in Mulberry. And then we have it stamped in Mink, which I think that one is a bit too light. And then we have unstamped, right? We have charcoal and Mulberry are basically the 2 choices. So let's stamp first so that can dry. And yeah. I do have this for a reason. I need to remember that reason. I remember that reason. Okay, we're good. Never mind. All right, we are stamping. So what I have done is I have taken both of my people and put them onto my Misty, and I have this So here's the stamp pad for this. And then I do have a shim for that fancy brackets, and I am taping that to the foam pad itself. Okay, and so I'm going to grab my ballerina piece, and charcoal. So I'm just going to set this in here. Now, if you want, you can do something to tack that down a little bit. I generally don't. There are times, but generally speaking, I do not. Alright, so I am going to ink her up and stamp her. And make sure that she stamped very well. I'm happy with how that looks. So then I'm just going to pick up my whole foam pad and put this in here and move this over, and then you can see that he's going to line up with her, right? So stamp pad again, ink pad, and then there we have our people. So you could make many of them and only have to rotate this, because these two touch and overlap, and so you can't put them right next to each other on the block or on the MISTI, and so that is how I did that and made it super easy, so that if I needed to, I could stamp them again if something didn't work very well. Okay. More ink, more pieces. So we are going to stamp congratulations. Because we're stamping on some pretty paper, let's make sure that our stamp is good. Now I'm going to stamp this close to the right side. Fabulous. And then the inside looks like this, to the happy couple. So we are going to go ahead and lay this here so we can see how that fits, so that we can stamp so it's centered with that piece as opposed to the whole thing. Okay. And that is us done with our stamping. Move our pieces out of the way. And we are going to need these two pieces next. We need to attach these two pieces together. We are using the dark side, so we're going to make sure, hold on, let's make sure that we are using, yep, are using the dark side. We are going to cut through these, so we want some extra adhesive on here so that we can make sure that everything is doing exactly what it is supposed to be doing. Okay, move some of these things out of the way. So we are going to put this here. We're going to use some washi again. And we're going to try and make this straight. So let's grab the Versamat. What in the world is that? Okay, so I am kind of lining up the bottom edge here at the 3 1/4 line. And then I want to kind of center the scallops so that they are at about the same point at this point and this point, which I think they are. So I'm going to put some washi here. And again, we're doing the whole hiding where the washi is going to be seen, right? Because we're going to have our people here. All right. So I'm going to just real quick also just for a moment, I'm going to use a Post-it note just for a moment so that we can flip this over, and that's where this adhesive sheet is going to come into play. We are going to put it on this side here, okay? So one side is sticky, one side is not, or I guess one piece when you split it apart like that, just like any other sticker paper. Alright, so this is a little bit too long because apparently I mismeasured, so we're just going to trim this. It does not have to go all the way to the edge. That is fine. We just want it close. Okay. So we're going to move our mat. We're going to bring in our piece here. We're going to take this off. Okay. And then we're just going to run this through our machine. Backing it because that is definitely not thick enough. All right, back to -1 on die cut. So this should have cut all the way through. Fabulous. All right, let's go ahead and take this off. Alright, so we have some pieces in here that I will worry about cleaning later. So, now this is cut all the way through, but the sticker paper itself is not. So that's fine. Because what we need to do is just pierce out all these pieces. So, it is possible that I'm not even sure what I was going to start saying there. If I had made this a little bit tighter, so if I had made it a -2, it may have gone all the way through the sticker. I'm not sure. But this is fine. Okay. So it doesn't look like much yet, but we'll get there. Now it is assembly time for things. So let's go ahead and do our envelope first so it has time to dry. as a reminder, you get it that thin, it dries really quickly. So you need to make sure to have your paper ready to go. Alright, let that dry. Next up, we're going to go ahead and glue this on here just like this. And yes, I know I said that the liquid glue is a bit too time consuming. I still stand by that statement, which is why we are not adding any glue to any of the lacy bits. So just again try to match up where those scallops meet, and it does not have to be perfect. Alright, let's let that dry for a few moments. Get the glue off my fingers. While that's drying, we're going to go ahead and adhere this. Due to the nature of the rest of this card, I am also going to do some liquid glue just right around the edges, so it can be assured to be glued down flat. Alright, so if your card, like my card, is not quite straight, right now is when you need to fix that. At least on a top and bottom. Alright, you can fix the rest of it later if you feel the need. If you want and or feel the need. How about that? Okay. So next up, what we are going to do is we are going to pull this piece off the adhesive backer. There we go. I'm actually going to cut away parts of this. Alright, because this shows us where our piece needs to be, right? Because our piece came all the way out here to this left edge. So we can use all the pieces to get to the right spot. We're going to fit this right back in there. And then press down here where we've cut away. And then we can, it would of course do that. And then we can peel away our piece. There we go. And press it down. allergens. Excuse my sniffles. Goodness. All right, and now, again, I'm going to use some of that liquid glue just so we have that movability. And we're going to take this piece and we are going to fit those all in. So they are lining up perfectly right where they were cut before. Okay. So essentially we're using everything that we cut except for the cutouts, and that is where the background paper is popping up through. Okay. And then we're going to take this piece, which we've already cut with the adhesive sheets on the back, and we are going to line it up directly right on top of a piece that's already there. Okay, and this is why we cut it a little bit long, so that we could make sure that we had enough on either side so that we could line them up. Because if we cut our piece at 5.5 inches and then cut them slightly differently, then it could be that we end up, obviously it's backwards, but I've already peeled the back off, but we could end up with a piece that when it lines up, it's not all the way up to the edge. So that's why we went longer. Are we just lining up? And it looks like I glued it just ever so slightly crooked. This piece here, which, oh well, it's too late now to fix it. Unless we waste the bottom, and we're not going to do that. We're just going to let it be. Using my non-stick scissors. To trim that off. And then the same for the inside piece. Alright, so let's go ahead and glue our inside piece in. And not that I'm tucking anything in here, but I could tuck something, an extra little note or a gift card or something in there if I wanted to. Okay, I wish it wasn't a little bit crooked, but it is what it is. Alright, you know the drill. I have the white daisy to make this a little bit more sturdy. So now we want to kind of figure out how long we want our banner piece here. And then just trim it to whatever that desired length is. And then we're going to do a shallow little banner cut. Alright, so this we're going to go all the way to the edge, right? And these pieces aren't glued down yet. These pieces are clearly too long, and that is quite alright. And we are just going to trim one at an angle, and the other we're going to do a super shallow banner cut. And then we're just going to kind of play with how long we want things. So this is, again, something that I would use washi tape for. Well, it's going to look messy for a minute, but it gets better. And then this one, it will go under. But since I just put that washi down, we're going to put it about there. Oh goodness. Alright, let's try this again. So this will go about here. I want this one to be a little bit longer. And then this will go about like that. Okay, so then you just kind of straighten it out. And I'm not sure, this worked beautifully for me when I was making my sample, but of course it's not going to be that way right now. Alright, so just ran the tape runner on there. So we're just going to trim this off right here equal. And then we are going to do 2 layers of this, but only here on the edge. Let me explain. So we're going to glue our people right here, about here. Right, and we have our banners, and these guys are going to be popped up on foam tape here in a minute, and we need to make sure that this is at the same level. So we're going to put 2 layers of the white daisy in this space here, right where it's not on this, so that makes it kind of an equal space. So I'm just going to put 2 dots where our tape runner didn't get to. This is just the inside of that happy birthday banner from the last card. And so I'm just going to set that down like that. Alright, really easy way to do this. Alright, so now this is flat all the way across. Okay, and then we're going to add some foam tape. Oh my gosh, guys, that is all of my centers. Who would have thought? So we will glue on, or take these off first. And then for this, we're going to add some of that liquid glue. And then just make sure to get lined up with that right edge. Alright, let's do some quick envelope trimming. I think my brain losing all my words today was what took today's video a little bit long. So for that, I apologize. Hopefully these cards have inspired you to do something different with your thin cuts than you would normally do. Alright, last but definitely not least, some sparkles. And that is card number 2. So we have number 1, and number 2, and number 3. So hopefully these inspire you in some way or another. Maybe you're just going to do the sprinkle drop, or maybe you will do the fun inlay technique for the thin cuts, or maybe you'll try the embossing with your die cuts. Either way, they are all super fun techniques. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that they have inspired you in some fashion or another, and that you show me what it is that you end up doing with them. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you've liked the video, giving me a thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. It shows YouTube that you liked the video, and other crafters might as well. So, and then if you would be so kind as to share, that would be extra fantastic, and I would love you for it. So thank you guys so much, and I will talk to you later. Bye.